Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Ann Pinkava, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Before we get going too far in, I want to announce our winner for our Chicken Lady Fiber Arts giveaway, this beautiful one-of-a-kind skein on Stream of Sock. It's got all the colors in it. And then a fantastic non-woke book by our buddy Cody Schlegel. So it's a great story with mystery and intrigue and adventure and all kinds of stuff. And so if you want a book that's not woke and it's just going to be a fun, exciting story, Cody Schlegel. So these two beautiful things. We have picked our winner for the month of July, and it is Karen George. So congratulations, Karen. Make sure you email politicallyincorrectknitters@gmail.com to get we need your address so we can mail out your prizes to you. And thanks to everybody who commented and everything. Next episode, we'll have our next giveaway, so don't worry, you'll get another chance. There's always another chance. And if you didn't win and you want a Chicken Lady yarn, she's got some really pretty one-of-a-kinds too that she's been putting up in her shop lately. So you can use the code PIK July 20 for 20% off in the month of July.
No, you can actually.
Yes, July goes until today's the 29th, so it'll be 2 days in July, and then
there you go. all right, you can still use the July promo code for the month of July. Don't get caught up.
July. Yes. And then if you're watching this in August, you can use the code PIK hot as heck 20 for 20% off your order. Oh, and guys, if you are not on her email list, get on it. In August, there's a 50% off sale happening for email subscribers, okay? And then she also gives a 20% off code for people who are new to her newsletter. So she's great. She does not spam you. It's awesome. And I forgot to tell you guys because I'm a ditz, but look at what she sent me for next month's giveaway. This is a bouquet of the DK sock mini set of the Patriots. This is the Patriot bouquet. And so there's these white ones with all the pretty blue and red speckles. And then there's a pretty red. And then there's pretty blue. So next month's giveaway. And when you're a first time subscriber, she also sends you this. I had to hide it from my kids. Sorry. I had to hide it from my kids because they love playing with it so much. So this is like a box of chocolates. The colorway is hazy purple. And look, if you aren't sure about what kind of yarn you want to get from her, this is a little sample card. It tells you everything. These are different bases she has, and you can touch them all. And you can see how the color dyes up on all of them. And it's amazing. And I know last week, Liz was talking about her cashmere nylon base, and let me tell you, now that I've touched it, I only want to ever use this myself. So it's awesome. Make sure you check out Chicken Lady. Go to chickenladyfiberarts.com. Check out all her stuff. I just didn't want to forget to tell you because 50% off. Everybody loves a 50% off sale. I don't care. You can't tell me you don't. So right. And then there's been some conversation in the Deplorable Knitter business, shall we say, about whether or not we want to offer some Deplorable Knitter mugs. So guys, if this is something that may be interesting to you, let me know. Comment, email me, talk to me on Instagram, whatever. And then I can't believe I forgot this. When I got the mug, which was a few weeks ago, my life has been turned upside down because Anne is so far away, and it's just not the same.
As I said before, I am still only a click away. That as far as person to internet is, it's the same distance.
I know.
Not physical distance, but like.
It's been weird. And I think it's because I think of things like, I don't know. I think of things when you're not around, like it's nighttime there, but it's okay. But guys, here is something we're thinking about offering. It is a tote bag. It says Politically Incorrect Knitters with our lovely logo. Little red handle. Look at, I will be Vanna White. And I am currently using mine for holding all my little friends, because I'm going to be doing a little craft fair, and I have all of these little friends that will be going with me. So it's a bag full of crochet toys. But it also is a Politically Incorrect Knitters bag. So that's possibly going to also be part of next month's giveaway, because I ordered one for Anne and I ordered one for myself, and then I got an extra one. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anne hasn't seen them yet because she's in Romania. And Anne is also the only person in the whole world that owns a Politically Incorrect Knitter shirt. So be jealous.
That is true. That is true, though. It's not currently in my possession yet.
No, it's still in my possession, but it's hers. And I was telling Anne, I've been working on some knitting this week. I don't have it to show to you. My mom and I are doing Intarsia Christmas stockings. It's a commission we get nearly every year. And we're working on it together because neither of us enjoy doing Intarsia. We are not Anne. And so it's better for us if we do it at the same time. So next week, I'll show you guys that. Hopefully the Intarsia will be done and it'll just be regular knitting from then. But I have been also crocheting. And so this is a little shawl. It's kind of on the small side, but I'm wondering if once I block it, it'll be like a shawlette, like if it'll be big enough to be like a little wrap scarf kind of thing.
Right.
And if not, I'll have to go get more yarn. But this was a free pattern.
That is the nice thing about crochet, that you can just pick up on the end and keep going.
Yeah. I just seriously just attach my yarn. And I didn't even finish where I was supposed to finish, but I mean, you can't tell. The edge looks pretty, so who cares, right? Yeah. I mean,
looks good to me.
So that's what I've been working on. And I know Anne has been knitting all of the socks lately and all of the things. So
I have been. Well, I've had a lot of extra time. It's like I'm in Romania, I don't work. Didn't get a working visa, and I don't speak the language, so it's that'd
be difficult. Can you imagine trying to work and not being able to speak the language? How frustrating.
It would be. But also, so before I go, because we had a guest last week, so we didn't show off any knitting, and I just that I have. I talk about making these pop hats. I have 5 here, and I have 2 half-finished ones because I ran out of yarn, which I go pull apart and use for something else. But, you're like, oh, Anne loves Intarsia. I do a lot of it. Actually, and then I was talking to Liz after the show last week and talking about a couple different pattern ideas. And she's like, oh, that'd be Intarsia, though, and I don't want to do it. I'm like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, Intarsia, what I found with it is just that it's so fiddly, and especially like the one that I'm doing, I was working with like 6 different bobbins on the same row, and that's the part. And then I will forget to carry a color that I'm carrying across because it's the main color. That's the part that gets me. I think that now that I'm getting better at it, I could probably do your patterns fairly efficiently, and it wouldn't be so painful. But it's on those Christmas stockings, I swear, it's like
no. And that's the kind of Intarsia too. So a lot of the Intarsia I do is that I'll carry the yarn over. So I guess modified Intarsia. But, so I'm only working with 2 bobbins when I'm making this, or 2 balls of yarn. I mean, I've done, like, my Betsy Ross hat pattern is proper Intarsia where there's nothing carried behind. But yeah, it can be a pain in the butt. And also with like those Christmas stockings, when there's like 47 colors, I'm like, I like simple. I like straightforward. I like effective.
Yeah. But I was telling Anne, we were debating like the merits of like duplicate stitching on Santa's eyes. And then we decided that we both stink at duplicate stitch, and we were like, just knit it. Just get another string. It doesn't matter. Just put his eyes in.
But yeah, I was not sure if I'll actually do it, but I'm contemplating like doing a quick Instagram live of this is how you do Intarsia. A lot of other people have made videos, but this is mine.
Yeah, we had one. Anne made one for our channel, and for some reason there was no sound, and so I hung on to
because I had the camera
for a long time, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, what a great comprehensive video with no sound whatsoever. but it's all right. We'll muddle through somehow. We'll make it work. But yeah, so stack of those. See, I put the Dunbrook socks, I think I showed before. So, they're still very sock-like. I used the same basic, sorry, that isn't very knitting podcasty. I should, show them off and luxuriate further in this.
No, I think that the description that they're very sock-like is really all anybody needs. I mean, it's a sock.
Like, woohoo, goes on your feet. I like the pattern, like the yarn, woof. But I also did a second pair using the approximate measurements and heel flap and everything from the same pattern. I just, like, because it's such a loud yarn, I did like every other row I would knit around, and then after that it'd be knit 3 purl 1, so it'd just be like a little bit of a rib to it. But yeah, I think they're fun.
They're really cute, and I like the heels too.
Yeah,
the contrast, not the heels, but yeah.
Yeah, and normally I'm a toe up gal, so it's like going cuff down and doing the whole heel flap thingamajig. Like, it's fun every once in a while. And so, as you can see, the colors aren't totally even, but it breaks up with these little orange and red stripes, and those are at the same places together. But because I was pulling from either side of the wool, because I was doing it 2 at a time, I had to make this little tiny sock so I could pull yarn from one side and one from another so that I could eventually get to the places where they match. So yeah, it's kind of cute. But yeah, and I'm still going. This is not precedent for anything, because I also started a Loki stocking, which is something I used to sell in my Etsy store, and then I didn't because it takes so much time. And then again, I'm hanging out, I have all the time in the world. So yeah.
I love that houndstooth. Do you have a pattern for that?
No. If you want a pattern for this, tell me, because parts of this are stupid. And
I just want the stitch pattern.
Like the houndstooth pattern?
Chart for the houndstooth, yeah.
Oh yeah, super easy.
Okay, good. I know like somebody who loves houndstooth and would love it if I made them something with it. So
right.
Way to be.
Right. It's a 4-stitch, pattern across, pattern up. So it's nothing super crazy. But yeah, like, when you're reading a knitting pattern and you're like, why did they put it in this way? This makes 0 sense whatsoever. Why? That's what it was like reading my own written instructions for this pattern. And the entire thing is like this, it's like a small cramped paragraph of written instructions and then charts. I'm just like, why? And this.
Why did you do that to yourself? What is wrong with you?
I know. I'm sitting there and like there was one part where it was like add 4 or like it was +4. And it didn't say stitches and it didn't say rows. I'm like, I already said plus rows, so it must be like increase 4 stitches, right? But anyways,
it's
and
more
then
or less stocking looking now, so it must have worked out all right.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know if you can really see. Okay, so it's black and white in the houndstooth, and then it's green for the toes and heel and the little contrast bit. But I have the houndstooth going into the green. So I was like, how the heck did I do that? But I had to knit back and forth for 2 rows on this side. So it could be green on one side, white carried all the way around, and then black on the other. And then again for the other way. So should this ever really become a pattern and you're like, Anne, what are you doing? Just expect stuff like that. But then you get this nice, and then you have to change directions. Like you have to change from like the toe being flat this way to being sideways like this. So the stocking, when it hangs, is truly reversible, so you don't get a seam right down the middle. Stuff like that. And that's one of the things when you're writing a pattern, at first, at least primarily for yourself, is that you can just sit there and do stuff like that. And like, yeah, well, I know what I'm talking about, right? Do I really?
I might know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I look back at my notes and I'm like, I'll have notes and it won't say what kind of yarn I used or what size needles or what the pattern's for. And I'm just looking at it going, well, I guess I don't want to make that again.
Right. I had to do needle size from memory. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. Anyways, final thing is, so I was in the middle of socks and debating what to do with myself. So I had made this hat. It's the Buttercup Beret pattern. It was free online a while ago. It's with Chicken Lady yarn, which is an absolute joy. It's the FAAFO. There we go. Colorway. But I brought 2 balls of this with me. But yeah, it's coming out a little faded on the thing, but it is just beautiful yarn to work with, which is awesome because I have to pull this entire thing out because it's too short.
You don't have to pull the whole thing out.
It kind of increases a little bit and then it decreases. So if I were to make it longer, I would have to make it longer at the bottom.
Are you doing that because when you asked me and the day later I said, yes, it's too short, you had already bound off?
No, I haven't bound off. It's still at the top. Oh.
I don't know what to tell you, girl.
I don't know.
Is it for you or is it for someone else?
Me.
Yeah, you need to make it longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And also, again, so I have to figure out, because my original plan was I wanted a pair of gloves. So maybe I should pull this apart, make the gloves first, and then whatever else I have a hat for. Mm-hmm. Then I have to figure out what gloves to make. So yeah.
So Anne has just done a teeny tiny bit of knitting.
Just a little bit.
Nothing really to show for that.
Anne has knit herself into a hole, which she doesn't know how to get out of. We've gone past the basics of, oh yeah, I'll make things. I have things to make. I like making too. Now I'm questioning everything.
When you start questioning, that's when you need to step away. Go take a walk, sit in the sun, read a book. Have you read any books while you've been there?
Yeah, I read a little bit. Been reading through Middlemarch.
Yeah. I have a book recommendation that I just finished. So I do audiobooks, right? And this book was called The Indigo Girl. And it's the true story of Eliza Lucas and how she started the indigo. She started producing indigo dye in South Carolina. And obviously it's partially true because the author had to fill in characters and different things because she was alive in 1736, but it was such a great book. And it was one of those ones where it wasn't filthy and it wasn't, because sometimes you get into a historical fiction and it's like a bodice ripper. None of that. It's about this 16-year-old girl running plantations, trying to do stuff. It's one of those books I keep thinking about. So not any sort of paid advertisement, but The Indigo Girl was a really good book if anybody wants to read it.
Okay.
So that's my story about that today. Well, I usually complain about how woke they are. So I figured if I'm always going to complain about books, I should tell you guys that I read one that and I know for me, because I listen to audiobooks, the narrator really makes a difference too. And the narrator was really very good. Sometimes I'll start one and I'll be like, I can't listen to this person for 12 hours and I turn it off. So,
Right. Yeah, I did that once. It was even like somebody I liked. It was David Copperfield, read by Richard Armitage. And I'm like, I love Richard Armitage. He's a great actor. And I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to this. I couldn't do it. Like, it was as if I had read the sentence and if he had read the sentence, he would pause at different points than I would. And then how he did ladies' voices was just bad. Like, I like you. Stop doing this.
Yeah. Some actors are very good voice actors and some actors are not. And it just depends on the person. Edward Herman, who passed away several years ago, but he was a great actor. And the books that he does are amazing. Just my thing. But yeah. So anyway, we have other things we have to talk about, though. Unfortunately, there's a lot of politics, and Anne and I spent Oh yeah,
But before we do, we should talk about the make along that Two Sisters and Some Yarn.
absolutely. You are right.
Right.
And I'm actually a part of it, and I forgot to mention it. I'm sorry, guys.
Right.
Yeah, no, they're doing a make along for Let Them Live, right?
Right. Right. Make them live.
Make them live. Do
Make
it.
them live. No, come on. Let them live. Let Them Live is a pro-life organization. You know, you get a puppy in a shot, you know it will sell things better. So we'll get that figured out. Right, Bella?
Okay.
Anyways, sorry. Let Them Live is a pro-life organization that offers support to pregnant mothers. Normally financial support. You know, I think the statistic was over 70% of abortions that people give financial reasons. So that's part of the kind of help and counseling that they give. And yeah, it's a great organization. Amy of Two Sisters and Some Yarn is heading it up. And anyways, that the make along is going through October 31st. And to be entered in the giveaway, there's a giveaway attached. So to participate in that, you either have to send donated knit baby items. So this is anything you want to make, really. If you want to make hats or baby blankets or like a little sweater or a toy, or Anna Knitter's Welcome Baby Socks, any of those, you can go ahead and make those and send it. Sure, they only ask that it be washable. And yeah, any donation that you give, either things that you have knit to send to her, or if you want to give a monetary donation to the organization, and send Amy your receipt without your personal information, of course, that will enter you into the giveaway.
Right. And also, I have 3 patterns that are involved in it. I have, if you're on my newsletter, they were on sale when my Life Wins hat came out. So you can get 15% off the Life Wins pattern, the Choose Life pattern, or my Pro pattern, which has different options. On the picture, it says Pro Life, Pro USA, Pro Trump, but there's also options inside to like change it to Pro 2-way, or you don't have to put all of them on there if you don't want to. But and I think they want to give hats to the workers or have hats available for the mothers as well. So my adult patterns are involved in that, and all the info is on Two Sisters and Some Yarn's Instagram post, so you can find it all there. And for my patterns, you can use the code LIFE15 to get 15% off of those 3 patterns.
Yep, and I believe Wise Owl Knits took the same promo code too, so it's also LIFE15 on her patterns as well.
Yep. Oh, and Liz from last week has her block tat for free. The baby block tat is free. So there are lots of friends. I'll link the post in our notes so that you guys can find all the specifics, because I'm not going to list them all here, but you can go find them where they are.
Yeah, lots of chances to participate, and yeah, lots of cool prizes that they have. So yeah.
So okay, and now what I was saying before that is that Anna and I talked way too much this morning. I was the one running late, if anybody can believe it. But we were running a little late this morning. We talked too much, and I was late. I was the late one. I didn't have any coffee until we started the show, which is not normal for me. I've usually had a pot by then. So because of that, we have to do kind of rapid fire politics today. But I think that there's enough to talk about that it'll be okay. Do you want to start, or shall?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a lot of British news today. Surprise, surprise. But also I wanted to start with the Rippaverse stuff that I mentioned before. Like I said, Eric July and his comic book that is advertised as straightforward, people who just want a fun comic book, good action, good plot. And yeah, he is at $3.2 million that he's made from the book. And he just had, which is amazing, he's close to 3.3. I think it's like 3.28, whatever. Anyways, making more money all the time, especially since now PayPal has totally screwed him up. That PayPal has refused to give him the money that he got through them. And pay. I know that PayPal has messed up other businesses and shut down other businesses before, but as he explains it, that a lot of international people especially wanted to use PayPal as a processor because they have an international presence. It's easier for them. It's more secure than, or perceived as more secure than putting your credit card into their website, which makes sense. But yeah, PayPal started by saying, oh, well, it's a pre-order and you can't touch any of the money until you've actually shipped the product. And I mean, other companies have had pre-orders and they can access their money. And he went through the whole thing. He said, I'm a legitimate company. This is the comic book that I have. This is the stock that I have. Because he set it up on the website so it looks like a crowdfunding model, but he had already paid for the original product. Like, so, you can see the goals, you can see how many people bought, you can, see how it's going, but the actual product he had already paid for and printed, and he needs to print more now, which is amazing, but that he had already had his set thing to go. And talking about this, and originally PayPal's like, oh, well, no. It's a pre-order and you can have the money once you ship out the product, which is, yeah.
Yeah. So in my experience, if I have a pre-order, I need to collect the money ahead of time because I don't have enough money to secure all the product and ship it all. There's a reason it's done the way it is.
Right. If he hadn't put his money forward and got in debt to get all of this together, then he couldn't have actually fulfilled the orders if he had only been using PayPal. And I believe it's 1.3 million of that money. So, about over a third of his money is wrapped up in PayPal right now. And yeah, and then they did a step worse because he's like, wow, before I would call PayPal, and then he started complaining on the internet, and now PayPal's calling him. But after PayPal is calling him, they sent him this little note saying that, his business is, I don't know if I wrote down the exact term, but it was like his business is like risky. So, we're not sure. Yeah, they put a 2-month hold on his money. So he's shipping out in August, like late-ish August, but in August. So he will have got his product, shipped out his product, the people will have received his product, and he is still not getting the money.
That seems incorrect.
Very.
I'm not into business much, but that doesn't make sense to me. If he's fulfilled his promise, then what right does PayPal have to keep his money? Like if they're saying, oh, you can't do it until you ship it. Well, once you shipped it, what are they smoking?
Well, exactly. And not even that. It's like, oh, well, you're a risky business or something. It's like, I have showed you the book that I'm selling. I have done everything. He was in the music business before. He has a record of doing business, even though kind of a different medium. But it's like, it's not as if, the IRS is knocking at his door, or he has all this. Now he has debt from getting the comic book stuff together, but it's not as if he's had miserable or failed business practices in the past. It's not as if he even has a criminal record. It's not as if any of those things are up against him. PayPal is just saying, well.
So PayPal saying, I don't like you because you're not liberal like me and you're not doing things the way we do them. So therefore we're mad at you.
Right. And worse than that,
we're going to take your money and go home.
Exactly.
Taking their ball and going home. They're taking his and going home.
Right. And it's like, man, PayPal keeping the black man down. Like, this is actually the biggest comic book open ever. This is the most sales. He has over 30,000, I think well over 30,000 sales, but I can't remember the exact number. But that is over the top selling comic book for last year. And that's all of them. That's Marvel, DC, whatever. that is much better numbers than a single individual sales for a comic book in a year. And he has already made that. And this is very much, anyways. But yeah, so he stopped accepting PayPal payments on his website. And he's still saying that everybody who paid for something will get their books, will get their stuff. And, he's getting lawyers involved. But
wow, that's crazy.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he's pretty funny though. And that, that you can tell that this was a setback, but it's okay, we got to deal with this now. All right, so we're going to fight this. This isn't going to stop us. We're still going. This is, he talked, all the years that he spent saying that you should build your own thing. He's like, no, I'm going to fight through all the problems. I really am. So good for him.
Well, that's good. So what about England? I'm waiting for you to tell us the story that I heard about, and I want to hear about it.
Which one?
It's about they closed down a gender changing center in England.
Yes.
Right?
Well, let's start with good English news then.
Yes.
Because like I said, the rest is so bad.
Saw it on United Kingdom, and I didn't have time to read the whole thing, and I knew that you would be able to tell me about it.
Right. That that's the Tavistock Clinic, which is shut down in England. That even the NHS said that having unquestioning gender affirming care is not helpful to children.
Go figure.
So,
I didn't see the whole story today, but I was seeing something about the FDA was saying that giving kids puberty blockers was causing like medical issues in them.
Yeah, it was causing brain swelling and causing kids to go blind.
Yes. And people are surprised. And it's like, but you didn't know what you were, this wasn't made for kids, and you were just blanket giving it to all of them. And now we're surprised when it has bad effects. Like what the heck?
Right. Well, and it's been said before that, and people have questioned, I think it was questioned in the What is a Woman documentary that Matt Walsh did, when he said, hey, so this drug you're prescribing for a puberty blocker has also been used in chemical castration of criminals. And it's all like, deer in headlights. Oh, well, you're not a doctor. It's like, I'm asking questions.
Be a doctor.
Right.
You don't have to be a doctor to be concerned about like, hey, if we're not allowed to use ivermectin to treat COVID because it's off-label use, then why are we allowed to use this chemical castration drug to stop puberty in kids? It's right. Off-label use. Stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Right. Oh gosh. And I'm sure you saw, but the whole Deborah Birx thing when she was all like, yeah, we always knew that the COVID vaccine wasn't worthwhile at all. Like, oh, really? You always did? Really?
I was a bit disappointed in her. I didn't hate her in the beginning. I felt like she was kind of like straightforward with people and telling them stuff. And now I'm quite disappointed that she was just as, awful as all the rest of them, which is a bummer. But,
yeah. Well, I too watched the daily COVID show, and I, at the time, before all of this, it was my opinion that Birx and Fauci were probably hired more on their, TV, like this, this is your New York doctor, and this is your kind of motherly doctor who's going to be there to, gently say whatever. But anyways, that's all crap. But yeah, it's just like, oh, so, and again, both things can't be true. You either willingly lied to everybody that it would never work, or you were wrong now, and then you tried to kind of like, oh, well, I always knew. Which one is it, really?
Right. And
also, again, English numbers. But so a new number came out with NHS. So 93% of England, according to their numbers, is vaccinated, right? So 92% of all COVID fatalities from their numbers are vaccinated. That would tell me statistically nothing doing. Right. And especially since it's like over, the more jabs you've had, the more, quickly you get it. Like, but why though?
Yeah.
It's sort of quite like, it may have compromised your immunity.
But anyway, so, okay. So they're closing that clinic because why? Is it because?
No, they're closing the clinic for medical safety reasons. That is unsafe for the children who go there.
So they're finally saying that it's not good to chemically castrate kids and encourage this stuff in them.
Right.
Interesting.
Right, and there is another case currently going in England where a kid is, or he may not be a kid anymore, but anyways, that a boy who transitioned to a girl and now regrets that and kind of trying to transition back. Well, it doesn't really work as well as you would hope, but that he is suing, that they saying that they rushed him through it too quickly, that he regrets it, that he doesn't, that what they did is criminal, which is what Jordan Peterson said to get kicked off Twitter.
I mean, I don't wish that on the people that have had this happen to them, but the ones who do regret it really do need to start talking about it, because they're doing it to kids younger and younger and younger, and we need the people to be like, nah, this is no good. This is because how else are we going to be able to push back? I mean, we can push back, but as we have no personal experience with it, our voices they don't hold as much weight as somebody who's actually experienced it.
Right. And I think to a certain extent, there are a lot of people who have come forward and talked about it, but also there's a certain percentage of the public who, whether by censorship or by being in their own bubble in the internet and will not interact with other areas, that just do not, like, I can say, and you can say, and other people can say, yeah, I've seen some detransition stories and they're heartbreaking, but there's some people who just haven't seen it, just haven't seen just the actual human wreckage, the destroying yourself medically on an intimate level, that it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a true story. What else is going on? If that's the good news, what's the next news?
Oh, well, this is okay. So this is that was the good news. This is some really crap news, let me tell you. So England, where everything is policed except crime. And I'm not saying that we don't have issues in America. That's not, but this sucks. So in Oldham, okay, in England, it was, we talked a little bit about the Telford grooming gangs. Oldham is another situation, and they're everywhere. Now, Rotterdam and Oxford and all of these, every week they put out a new damning report where nothing gets done. So Oldham, the story was that, gosh, okay, so 12-year-old girl, I think I told this to you before, but we didn't put it out. 12-year-old girl walks into a police station and says, I've just been raped in the churchyard. And the front desk person at the police says, you're drunk, go home. Okay. And then two men then take her from the police lobby and take her back to a house where she is then raped all night by 8 men. And well, we're done with you, drop her off at her place in the morning. Okay. So, and that is, that there are other cases in Oldham, but that is the loudest and most egregious. But that there's a city council meeting about this because the leader, I'm gonna get this wrong, that one of the leading members of the grooming gang actually worked in the welfare office and is a part of the city council and would run the gang, run rape gangs out of the city council. Okay. And again, she was picked up in the police station and they took her away. There is no fear of consequences. There's no anything. But anyways, there was a city council meeting about this after the report came out, and that there's other victims of this gang. And the gal in the report, she was given the pseudonym Sophie, but her name's Samantha, that she was that she was there at the meeting. And, you know, her lawyer was on, I saw a clip of him and saying that, you know, basically if she didn't personally try to hold their feet to the fire with this and personally spoke out, talked about it, you know, in a victim sense, reliving the trauma. But if she didn't say anything, like the other victims didn't show up at this meeting, she did. And again, she was 12 when this happened to her. But even so, that she's standing there and she's saying something. But so this meeting happened, and as you can expect, that people in this meeting were rather agitated, that there was yelling and there was a couple banging on the barriers. So they were served with ASBOs, which are, there's an antisocial behavior act that because they were being loud and rude at this city council meeting, that they were sent letters by the police station, and the police sergeant has said, oh, well, it's not us. Well, it's your seal in the corner. So unless someone came in, stole your stationery, and then, you know, sent out legal warnings to people, it was you. And again, these are the same police officers who are like, oh, well, that happened. It's in the past. Lessons have been learned. No, they haven't been learned at all.
So all I can think about while you're talking about this is our buddy Vaughn there, who says if you don't respect life when it's in its first stage, you can't respect life at any stage. And I can't. Number one, they're probably lucky that there are no guns in England, because if that was my kid, and nobody was doing anything about it, I would have to take care of it myself.
Right. One of the people served with the orders was actually her mother at the meeting for being upset.
Yeah, no, if something that horrible happened to my kid and then they had to go around at like city council meetings telling people about it because nobody did anything about it, and then they were re-traumatized, yeah, you'd have to pull me off of that person that's running that ring, because yeah, and I'm not advocating violence, but I just know that there's not much I wouldn't do for my kids. And I can't imagine being in that situation.
Right.
And the fact that they're trying to protect these people instead of the innocent child is really, really disturbing. Right.
And also to, you know, just carry on this happy train of misery. So yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is what the police ought to be doing and what they actually are doing. So you mentioned before the flag that Lawrence Fox put out, where it was the intersectionality flag, and then he stuck 4 of them together, and it seems to look like
resemble a swastika just a bit.
Right, just a bit. Anyways, and that was removed by Twitter. So another man reposted this picture, right?
Okay.
The police came to his house. They came to his house like a couple times, harassed him on a Sunday morning, and then came again and arrested him for a picture that he put online, that he was arrested for it. And also, so Lawrence Fox has the video on his Twitter. So he was there, and Harry Miller of Fair Cop, that he was a former police officer, and he has this charity, not charity, but he has a group that he's running to, you know, for fairness in policing. Anyways, that this man, again, no criminal record, was a war veteran, had a medal for good service, and 8 policemen drags him out in front of the whole neighborhood and tells him that he's being arrested because, then, again, throwing out words like, oh, it's for being homophobic. It's because the person who reported you was caused anxiety by your post, as if the entire neighborhood and anyone seeing this isn't caused anxiety for the police hauling you off for wrong opinions.
Yeah, there's something really scary about that, because it's I mean, it wasn't even like aimed at anybody. It's kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people might not find it funny, but it's not, saying we hate gay people. It's not saying we hate trans people. It's just something he did with
Your flag is ridiculous.
Yes. And he did something that they don't like, and so now they're arresting people. Like, it's the most insane thing I've ever heard of.
Right. And yeah, not only that, it's like you are arrested for wrong opinions. I'm sorry, but wrong or rude opinions are not illegal. They're not.
So this reminds me, I think this is going to be my new motto. We have a problem with parents who don't parent. When I was a kid and my brother used to call me a poopy head or whatever he would say, and I would run to my mom and say, Mom, he called me a poopy head. And she would say, it's just words. Like, that whole sticks and stone thing, like, get over it. It's just words.
Yeah, but now you have the police as ideological enforcers for your just words. It used to be that if, good ideas would be able to hold up for themselves. But yeah, and also, as I said before, that sex crimes in England and Wales are at an all-time high. The numbers in London alone are at an all-time high. And these police officers are doddering around getting the second vehicle for a gray-haired war veteran with no criminal record for posting a picture online. And they were going back and forth. Harry Miller ended up being arrested with him, but then was released. But he, pointed over because Lawrence Fox was doing the video. He's like, he posted it first. Why aren't you arresting him? And even Lawrence was sitting there going like, man, that because they probably think I have deeper pockets than you do, but don't worry, my deep pockets are now your deep pockets. But still, it was very much a absolute disgrace. And again, seriously, if that same man had been stabbed on the street in London and lying there dead, the police would have gone, But if that guy posts something that the police doesn't like, that goes against the rainbow wraps on their vehicle, then that's the end of it. And it's, again, the guy it's a thought crime. It's not an actual crime. He didn't punch a guy for whatever.
He didn't even post it with a threat.
Right.
If he had posted that picture and was like, I'm coming after all you gay people, then okay, you've got a leg to stand on. But he didn't.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
Oh gosh.
Oh geez.
Okay. Oh good. Just the last little bit of English news. And we get one of these stories every few years. It's almost as great as getting a new grooming gangs report. But yet again, with everyone who says, yeah, universal healthcare, it's so awesome. That a kid named Archie Battersby was declared brain dead, and his parents lost the appeal to keep his life support on, that the NHS can pull life support from your kid. And this has happened in cases before with seriously ill children, where the parents have actually asked to take their child out of the country and to get other medical treatment or perhaps experimental medical treatment elsewhere. And the NHS is like, nah, because if the state owns your healthcare, the state owns you, your proper flesh.
Right. And that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, universal healthcare. Oh, everybody deserves healthcare. Everybody. First off, with the way that the welfare system works here, I pay a ton in health insurance, and there are people who who aren't even citizens who get free stuff. So whatever, the system's not, it's really broken, but it's not that.
It is. It's inflated prices with insurance in addition to all this other bureaucratic bullcrap. But yes.
Yeah, but the thing about that is exactly what you said. People want this so bad, but then somebody else gets to decide whose life is worthwhile. My mom has a progressive debilitating disease. So at some point, would they be able to say, well, we're not going to treat you anymore. We're not going to let you get your drugs. We're not going to let you because your life isn't worthwhile. Alzheimer's patient who doesn't know where they are, instead of housing them and feeding them, are they just going to start offing them? Like, it's a very scary, slippery slope. When somebody's declared brain dead, that means that there's not anything really left there anymore, but that's not the hospital government people's choice. If that was one of my kids, I would be devastated if somebody got to make that choice and I didn't, on top of the devastation you're already dealing with.
Yeah, and it's kind of the old principle that what somebody pays for, they buy. And it's like, oh, well, it's free, and it's on someone else's dime. That, what's their benefit in paying for it?
And once again, Bone, I swear to God, I just need a tape recording of a few of these things that I just keep saying so I don't have to repeat myself.
Right.
If you don't value life at the first stage, you don't value life at any stage.
Right, just hit it again. Need a soundboard.
Oh my gosh, for real though. I just, and the thing you were saying about money leads perfectly into my first point, which is that according to the Biden administration, we are not in a recession. Did you know that?
Yeah.
We have had 2 consecutive quarters of the GDP going in the crapper, but they say that is not a recession. It's a transition. So they've actually changed the definition though. I was watching a show, I was watching Tucker, and he was reading excerpts of articles these people had written a couple months ago at the beginning of the year about a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. And now those people are up there standing there saying, oh, no, that's not a recession. That's not the definition. No. And I want to know, do they really believe what they're saying?
I don't know,
because I don't know. Sorry, Anne.
No, it's okay. It has to be quite a mental fog, because I mean, you don't necessarily think that everybody is working from such a position of bad faith that they think that they're actively lying to people. But it's lying to people. You gotta, when you're a liar, you lie to yourself first. And I don't know what sort of internal justifications that you may have if you think you're not lying to people, but they're intense. Because and this is also strange because after all, there was a recession during Obama. It's like Biden, that they would do the spin doctoring for Biden and not for Obama. What the heck's going on here?
Well, the thought is that they're using this as an excuse to go green. So they're selling us off. They're selling, they're giving all our money to Ukraine. They're devaluing our dollar, and now they're using this as an opportunity to transition to green energy. And transitioning to green energy would actually put us under the thumb of China, because that's who makes our windmills and our lithium-ion batteries and all the different things. And then
you slave kids better get going if you want that cobalt mine to work enough to go green energy for everyone.
Yeah, but so the White House is denying this and saying it's not so bad and whatever. It's getting, on average, the people have lost around $3,500 due to inflation. For some people, that's like their entire food budget. I think that's probably more than my family's entire food budget for 4. Okay, so that's a huge blow to people. That's a huge blow.
That food banks gone through the roof.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that people who have never visited a food bank before are showing up.
Yeah, and they've gone up some of the numbers were usually they get around 1,800 families a month, and they were getting up over 4,000. Just crazy, all different kinds of things. And so rent's going up, so people have to pay rent, and then they have to pay for gas, which is going up. And then at the end, there's no money left for food. And it, when I was watching Tucker, he likened it to bread lines, and he's like, you guys don't really realize it, but that's what they're doing. You get your government beans and rice and it's a scary spot that we're in, and it doesn't feel like anybody's really acknowledging it.
It is, and I don't know, it's a scary spot that it is. It is all mismanagement and contrived. It's, messing with farmers intentionally, like, like they have with the Dutch farmers protest, and now it's being mentioned in Canada as well. And Bill Gates buying stupid amounts of farmland, and the Chinese buying, like you mentioned before, buying farmland next to military bases, crazy stuff. Like all of this, that this is intentional monkeying around, that this is intentionally messing it up. And then later when this like, oh, wow, the crops weren't good this year. Oh, is it because you said we had to get rid of fertilizer? Never. That was because we love you, because we want green energy. Anyways, the crops weren't good this year. Clearly, this is global warming, and we have to lock down farther. And you have to obey us more. And if you protest, we'll cut off your welfare.
Yeah. And really it's because of all the money they're giving to Ukraine, and it's like you said, it's the control over farmers and the different things. Mm-hmm. But on a different note, Muriel Bowser, who is the mayor of DC, has declared a humanitarian crisis in DC. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because Governor Abbott has been busing illegal immigrants to DC because she said that she would take them.
Right.
And she's calling on the National Guard to help. And it's just really funny
how the same National Guard that wouldn't be sent to I think Texas may have sent them themselves, but that they were like, oh no, don't send in the National Guard.
Right. But it's funny that this is okay. So she's gotten like 4,000 illegal immigrants. Mm. And she's calling for the National Guard. Around 7,000 come through the border every day. So you can't even take about half of what comes through every day, and you're calling it a crisis. So right. That's messed up. And then in Mexico is mad at us because we have Californians that are flooding Mexico City and messing with them. And
America is not sending their best.
Well, they're sending Californians. Look at what they've done to California.
Exactly.
For real. So there's that. And then there's also, I'm surprised you didn't have this on your list, but did you hear that the organizer of the Freedom Convoy protest has finally been released?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes, she was released from jail. And Trudeau is not happy about it because he is trying to stifle free speech, and he's, and so this is he's not pleased that they're challenging his word, his rule, as it may be.
Right. And I can't remember if it was her terms or another. I think it was another person who was involved with the Freedom Convoy that it's like, yeah, we're going to release you from jail. But if you talk to any of the organizers, that it was a very, very stringent terms of release. So I'm not sure what hers are.
But I'm not sure either. But
that she's out is good. But that, it's insane.
But the point about it is that they held her for, 49 days or something, right, on what would be considered mischievous misconduct, like stuff that kids would be, for going out and like toilet papering a statue or something. Like it's the right. same grounds that would be, and they held her in jail on it. It's just right. messed up. So
that is insane.
And then I forgot to mention when we were talking about the transitioning stuff, there's a SAFE Act that some Republicans are pushing now, and it's Save Adolescents from Experimentation. And it shows, they've done some polling, and it shows that 90% of Americans are against allowing kids to transition. So even though it feels like we're the minority, we're really not. Most right. people out there know that this is just totally messed up. but they don't care. They're going to keep pushing it. And the latest thing on the chopping block is breastfeeding, because that's an offensive term.
Yeah,
and they're not even calling it chest feeding anymore, which I find also surprising. They want to call it parents' milk or father's milk, which I don't even understand.
I don't even understand.
Father's milk, I think of something really weird and not okay for anything. It's really
just say no.
Oh, I'll cut that out because it's so inappropriate. But no, so yeah, father's milk, and then you can't even be you're a lactating person, and it's really just I don't know. I had a kid latched onto me for approximately 3 years of my life. I'm not calling it father's milk or chest feeding or anything else.
Right.
That's not what happened. And I'm sorry that people are offended by that, but I had to carry that kid around. They wouldn't even take a bottle. I was the sole feeder of my kids for forever. They wouldn't get off of me. And I will own that. That is mine. I earned it. I don't care what they say. Sorry, but it's true.
It is. And it's gross. And it's
gross. Sorry, Anne.
Sorry. Not you. Referring to anything as father's milk makes me go, ugh. But
I think it makes most of us go because it's gross.
It is. But yeah, it's such, I don't know, it's such a redefinition of term. It's the whole thing that, trans women are women. And it's like, well, if you keep repeating it, you see, if I walk around and I say women are women, it'd be like, good for you. Clearly, there's no women are women. Like, that's just a statement that is. I wouldn't have to walk around saying women are women, because that would be ridiculous. It's like, clearly there's a distinction that is not obvious. And if you keep repeating it all day long, then it's like, that's.
Well, it's like Merriam-Webster has changed the definition. They haven't completely changed the definition of female, but it like the secondary one says a person who identifies as female. And then if you look at male, it's a person who identifies as male. And so it's just like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I use the dictionary to like look up things so I understand them better. That doesn't help me understand anything. No. What is a female? I could identify as a shrub. That doesn't make it true. I don't get it. I am so frustrated. But anyway, there's more we could talk about, but Anna and I talked too long and I'm going to be late for work. So
I was winding this, angrily winding yarn while talking. Check out Chicken Lady Fiber Arts for some lovely yarn. And use promo code PIK July 20 for the month of July and 20% off your order. Or if you're in the month of August already, PIK Hot as Heck 20, because it is for 20% off your order then. And she's getting Halloween colors in. So if you're sitting here in all this heat, just ready for fall already, there you go, get you in the mood.
Yeah, if you're claiming it's fall like Tabitha did the other day wearing her Halloween sweater, then those colors will be for you.
She started a Jack Skellington.
I'm saying, hey, Tabitha, there's fall colors at Chicken Lady. Go find them.
Oh, she knows, I'm sure. But yeah, she started a Jack Skellington sweater. Because she is going to be on again on our show, live from the Knitting Wars. So I'm hoping she'll show off her new sweater.
Yeah, and guys, we're doing another episode of Live from the Knitting Wars. It's going to be on Tuesday, August 3rd. I think it's the 3rd. It might be the 2nd. Yep.
There we go.
So August, that Tuesday, the first one, the 2nd or the 3rd. And it's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern, and come join us. We're going to have our panel. It might be knitting talk. It might be something else. It's kind of anybody's guess. It's a lot of fun. So
yes, and Tina said she's going to make it this time, so she better not stand us up twice.
Well, if Tina manages to wake up in time, she'll be there. Tabitha's going to be there, Neil, and we have feelers out for a couple other people. So we'll see if anybody else can come, and it's going to be a great time. So make sure you follow us, like, comment, subscribe. That boosts us. It helps other patriotic knitters find us. And if you ring the bell for reminders, it will tell you when we're live, so you won't miss it. So make sure you do it.
All right, see you then, guys.
See you next time. Bye.
But we're not being such downers.